Flickr is a giant photo-sharing website owned by Yahoo. It has billions of photos on it, and its users upload over 3 million photos every single day. Some people use it to back up all their photos, and many others use it to share their photos with friends, family, and the world. Flickr is hugely popular, and thanks to its API, or Application Programming Interface, programmers can tap into much of Flickr's functionality. For example, photo editing apps like iPhoto, Lightroom, and Windows Photo Gallery can all post photos to Flickr. It's the API that lets those programs post photos to the Flickr website. Flickr also offers a comprehensive API for web developers. It offers dozens of ways to interact with data on Flickr, from being able to post your own photos to finding every brand of camera ever used to shoot a photo on Flickr. To use this API, you need to apply for what's called an API key. Getting an API key involves telling Flickr about you and what application you intend to build using the API. Many websites that offer access to their information through an API require this step, and the exact process varies from site to site. An API key acts sort of like a password. When you connect to the web server, you have to send along your API key. That lets the server know who is making the request and lets the server limit access to the service. For example, if you're requesting too much information and slowing down their website, Flickr could even revoke the key, closing down access to the API entirely. Almost all sites that offer an API require an API key. In some cases, like Google Maps, they limit the number of requests you're allowed to make in a day or charge you money per request. Fortunately for us, Flickr offers a trimmed-down version of their API that's freely accessible and doesn't require an API key. The Flickr Feeds page lists URLs that let you access different types of photos and information. We'll be using the public feed for this. It lists the latest photos posted to the site. It also provides a simple way to search for photos from a particular Flickr user or photos that have been tagged with a particular word like cat or dog. Those tag words are added by the people who upload their photos to Flickr and provide a handy way to find pictures of a particular thing. Let's look at what the public feed looks like. I can just paste this URL into my browser and press Enter. Wow, that's a lot of information. Does this format look familiar? It's XML. I introduced XML, or Extensible Markup Language, back in Stage 1 of this course. I also mentioned that it's not the best format for JavaScript. JSON data, which I talked about in Stage 2, is a lot better format for JavaScript to handle. Fortunately, Flickr lets us get the same information in JSON format. We just need to add a query string like this. Now, the results here aren't very pretty, so if you're in Chrome or Firefox, I recommend using the JSON View extension. See the show notes for the URLs. There's a similar plugin for Safari, but unfortunately, Internet Explorer tries to download the JSON file. Don't worry, however. You don't often need to view JSON in the browser. Let's look at the format of this JSON data. You can see that this object has several different properties: a title for the feed, a link that points directly to the web page to see these photos, the time this feed was created, and a few more. The most important one for us is the items property. It's actually formatted like a JavaScript array. Each item in the array contains information for one photo. Notice that each photo has a title, a link that points to a page on Flickr where the photo can be found, and it also includes a link to a thumbnail-sized image. In the first stage of this course, I explained some of the security limitations of AJAX. For example, a web browser can't normally request data from a different server on another domain. In other words, a page on our client site can't normally request data from Flickr using AJAX. However, web developers have figured out a clever way around this problem. Web browsers do let you link to other types of files, like images, CSS files, and JavaScript files that are on different servers. So we can link to a JavaScript file on Flickr's server, and our web browser will let Flickr send us that JavaScript file. The trick is that Flickr is really sending us all the photo data wrapped up in a JavaScript file. This is accomplished using what's called JSON-P. That stands for JSON with padding. And it's not really an AJAX request per se. It involves adding a script tag that loads a JavaScript file from another server. In other words, to get our photos from Flickr, we actually just request a JavaScript file from Flickr. The process is a bit tricky, but fortunately for us, jQuery can handle all of the messy details. For us, it'll look like a normal AJAX request using jQuery's $.getJSON function.